So I own 26 UK limited companies, and right now there's a hot topic, which is why are millionaires leaving the UK and taking their businesses elsewhere? I just watched a crazy podcast. It was a debate on Diary of a CEO, and two people had very different views on this topic. Why are people moving to places like Dubai? Let's find out.
What would have been normal British jobs are going to the Philippines, going to India, going to Vietnam, people who work remotely now. We now have 1,000 millionaires a month leaving to go to Dubai. We have 120,000 British people living in Dubai.
Right, let's address the elephant in the room here. So there's two elements to this. The first one is, why are UK business owners hiring overseas staff? The second thing is, why are UK business owners relocating their businesses to Dubai and different countries? Let's start with the first point. In the UK, if you want to hire a staff member and have someone officially employed, as the business owner, and I'm just going to be straight up and 100% real with you guys, there's a lot of headaches that come attached with employing somebody. It's much easier for you to actually have someone self-employed. Now, of course, there's pros and cons. If you have someone employed, they are way more comfortable in that role. Is that a good thing? It's good for them, but it's not good for the employer. Because when in the UK, you've got staff members, they're comfortable in their role. To be honest with you, a lot of the time they can just slack off. It's hard to fire an employee in the UK. You have to really be careful when you're letting go of staff in the UK. It's not like cutthroat as you might think it is, where you can just hire someone, they're underperforming, you can fire them and let them go straight away. There's a lot of rights that employees have. The second thing, guys, is all of the increases on tax. So the national insurance contributions have been increased again. It costs more money for business owners in the UK to hire and employ staff. If we have overseas staff, those two issues are completely eradicated. We can terminate the contract at any point with overseas staff. Obviously, whatever's in that contract, we have to abide by it, but they're in a different country. They might be in the Philippines, in Vietnam. There's no real set rules and regulations that we have to really stick by in terms of ending the agreement. Whereas in the UK, it is harder because obviously there's the tribunal process in the UK. If you fire a member of staff unjustly, you can get taken to court. And they have like a whole tribunal process attached to that. So it can be very, very stressful. That's one thing. The second thing is you're not constantly having to pay more and more each year for that staff member because of all of the tax increases like the national insurance contributions. For UK business owners, it is cheaper to get people abroad to do the same work. So if a business owner in the UK has to choose and they have a job that can be done by someone that's living in a different country, 9 times out of 10, guys, in this economy, they will be going for someone that is overseas. And this is coming from experience. I've got overseas staff that work for me. I've got virtual assistants that work for me. I can tell you that in the UK, there's a certain level of entitlement as well. A lot of people feel like they should do minimum work, but get paid maximum. And to be honest, guys, it's a weak mentality and I don't respect it at all. I was never like that. The whole mentality about show up to work, do as little as possible and be the first one to leave, I think is the worst mentality you can have. If you really want to be successful, scrap that mentality if you do have it. On the Dubai thing, why are people moving to Dubai? Right now, I'm in Dubai. I'm actually moving one of my companies over here to Dubai. The reason being, guys, if you are a resident, the tax you will pay is minimal compared to the UK tax that you'll pay. So in Dubai right now, corporation tax is at 9%, and then with VAT, it's 5% once you hit that threshold. Don't quote me, guys, it does change. However, that's just a rough indication of what you look to pay tax-wise in Dubai. Whereas versus in the UK, typically you're gonna have to pay 20% for VAT on like a product or service that you're selling. You've got corporation tax, which can go up to like 17%, sometimes more. You've got your income tax as well. It can go up to 40%, which is just crazy. When you think about it, guys, you pay your VAT, you pay your corporation tax, and then you take the money from your company to your personal bank. Guess what? You can get stung with another 40%. Guys, that's not for me. And no. But in property, there are ways around that. There's things you can do. I'm not saying to avoid tax, but I'm saying to minimize tax using things like a holding company structure and that kind of thing. Why are people leaving? I think mainly it is due to tax and also lifestyle. In Dubai, people are very big on customer service. So for example, you go into a shop, people will greet you with a smile. You go to a restaurant, they're looking after you like you're a true boss, like you are. You've worked hard for your money. You want to be in an expensive restaurant, you'll get treated like a king or a queen. And I love that. In the UK, this is the mentality. You go into a post office, for example, you want to send off a package. This is what they'll say to you. They'll be like, what do you want? How can I help? In Dubai, you don't get that. You get smiles, you get greeted, you get treated well. Anyway, back to the video.
The Duke of Westminster pays income tax. He probably makes your bill blush.
Yeah, you think he pays income tax?
Yeah, well, if he's going to live, he has to withdraw money to have his income. Let me give you a list of all the taxes he would pay. He'd pay income tax, corporate tax. He'd pay stamp duty when he buys a building. He pays any of the other taxes, VAT when he spends money. All the same taxes apply to a duke as they apply to anybody else.
So you think he pays income tax on the income on that?
Any income he draws.
Okay, well, our viewers can research whether he pays income tax on his income.
One thing I just want to share on this, guys, when it comes to income tax and dividend tax, once you have a company and you want to take dividend from that company, you will have to pay a thing called dividend tax. Now, dividend tax is up to like 39.35%. In the UK, one thing you can do is you can have a holding company and you can pay yourself from one business to your holding company. There's no dividend tax from business to business.
But the only difference with a trust versus income is that the trust pays periodic tax versus inheritance
at
tax.
0.6%.
But we're only talking inheritance. That's just one type of tax.
So you think he's paying 60% on his income?
He's one of the highest taxpayers in the UK. I'm not like his big fan club, but the truth is he's one of the highest taxpayers in the UK. He's one of the biggest employers in the UK. He's one of the
biggest landowners in the UK.
Landowners in the UK, right? So the issue is does he pay tax? All the same taxes that apply to you apply to him. And if you want to set up a trust, you can also pay periodic taxes as well, which would be on top of all the other taxes.
So what would you say?
But it's just not true that he doesn't pay tax.
No, what would you say? This guy, he's inherited £10 billion. So he's worth £10 billion. What would you say will be the total amount of tax he will pay in his lifetime?
Well, I know that just the smallest...
If I make £10 million, I'm paying 60%.
I think what it is, guys, is he's getting confused with income tax and inheritance tax. Inheritance tax, you wouldn't pay that unless you sold the asset or if someone died. Income tax, that would kick in every year when you're paying your tax.
But why is it that the Duke of Westminster can be worth £10 billion?
You're comparing your income versus the amount he inherited, which is not a fair thing. That's not income.
Because that's his income.
Inheritance is not income.
So wait. So if I get given £10 billion, I don't pay any tax. But if I work for £10 billion, I pay 60%.
If you inherit...
If this is the tax system that you want...
If you inherited £10 million, there would be a large tax bill that's due on that actual money. Depends how you see it. You wouldn't really be paying it because it's not your money yet, but it would come off that amount. There are ways to kind of reduce that in the UK, but it's very hard. I'm not going to lie, guys. It's much more simple over here, guys. Zero income tax. Donald Trump is speaking about doing zero income tax in certain American states or in America. Do I think that's a good idea? I think it will blow up the USA economy. I think it would massively help. A lot of business owners would do that. A lot of high net worth people would live in America if it was zero income tax. However, I am no economist, but I do think a lot of people would move to America if they did introduce that. Do you need a mortgage broker for your UK property purchases, bridging finance? Anything you need, Mortgage Style, they will have your back. I've had 5 different brokers tell me no, but Mortgage Style tell me yes. They're the best in the game. Check them out. The link is in the description.
You know what?
About his
Let's support it.
situation.
Let's have a tax system where your kids and my kids and Stephen's kids are multimillionaires, and these guys out there can't afford to feed their kids and put the heat in.
That's not what I'm saying.
But that's what you'll get.
Right, basically, this guy's just trying to pull emotional heartstrings right now. He needs to stay calm. I don't know why he's so defensive towards this guy that's actually talking a lot of sense.
And for us,
let's explore the other alternative, right? So let's say tax the rich, right? Yeah. So let's play the game of tax the rich.
Tax the owners, not the workers.
Yeah, so
the owners.
This guy is not thinking it through. You charge the business owners more, it has a knockdown effect on the end user. If it's a property business, it affects the tenant. If it's a restaurant, it affects the customers in the restaurant. Everyone is going to increase their price.
The issue that we have with the rich is that the number one most valuable assets in the economy now are intangible assets. So there's this chart called the S&P 500 of the 500 richest countries in the world, in the US, sorry. In 1970s, 75% of the value of the S&P 500 was physical assets like property. And today it's less than 10%. It's closer to 5%.
So you think that housing is not particularly important?
Just let's stick with what I'm saying.
Okay.
The powerhouse, the engine room of the economy is digital assets, and that's reflected in the S&P 500, for example, which is 95% intangible assets. One of the issues that we have is that the richest people are completely mobile now. So they can be absolutely anywhere in the world.
I'm not saying I fall into that bracket of one of the richest people, but I am fully remote. So I can run my business from anywhere in the world. So why would it make sense for me to stay in the UK when we're one of the most heavily taxed countries in the world? It doesn't make sense.
So if you come up with this idea of let's tax richest people 1%, if a tiny proportion of them leave, we're all in trouble. So
These really rich guys, what do they own?
companies,
And why are those companies worth money?
because investors say they are,
And where do the revenues come from?
globally.
Okay.
The issue is that these companies operate globally now.
Say if you have a company that's an online business, for example, it's a tech company, it's an education company, it's online. Your customers are all over the world, people are using your services. Why would you be based in a country which is heavily taxing you? From a business perspective, it wouldn't make sense. Now, if it was a fair system where the business owners were taxed reasonably, then yeah, there are other benefits of being based in the UK, for example. But that is just not the case. It's not reasonable, it's excessive. Obviously, the Labour have came into party. They are kind of pushing that narrative of let's tax the rich. But if we're talking in brackets, say for example, you have normal employees, then you have small business owners. Let's just say for example, the businesses are less than £10 million in value. Let's class them as small business owners. Those ones there are feeling the hit and they're leaving. Very wealthy business owners, maybe you should look at taxing them more, but the middle bracket, you kind of need them. You can't push entrepreneurs out of the UK. You need to be encouraging entrepreneurship. Look at people like Richard Branson, for example. Would he still be based in the UK, or would Richard Branson come somewhere like here? That's my question for you.
If it was that easy, why is everybody not doing
I'll
it?
tell you
Dan?
why people aren't doing it. We went through a schooling system that taught us how to get an office job.
Okay.
Right? We went through a schooling system to prepare us for a world that doesn't really exist anymore,
Okay.
which is the Industrial Revolution world. And you have to go through a process of figuring out how it really works.
Guys, this is absolute facts here. The UK school system does not teach you how to be a business owner or an entrepreneur. It doesn't encourage that way of thinking. They do really teach kids how to be in a box, how to fit in with normal society, how to work, get a pension and die. What do I think they should do? In the school systems, they need to be teaching kids how to do tax returns, how to work with an accountant, how to make a business plan, practical tips that they can do to improve their mindset around business. The best mindset to have around money as a tool, rather than always being in conservation mode. A lot of people, when they start to make money, now they're like, protect my money. I don't want to give it away. Guys, you have to keep moving your money, move it. Once you get it, you want to be giving it away. You need to make your money work for you. You have to invest your money. When I was even in business in college, it was all practical, reading books on theories and all of these complex mathematical equations in the business class. And I'm like, oh, guys, what does square meters have to do with actual business? It's a load of baloney, guys. All of my business skills that I've learned in property and what's allowed me to kind of start and grow my different businesses, it's all been self-taught. I've learned more about business from YouTube and actually speaking with real business owners than I have from years of studying business in school and college.
We have a school system that manufactures people for a set of skills that are not particularly valuable anymore. And we also get them in debt for those skills. When people sidestep that and say, okay, I'm not going to get into university debt, I'm just going to go off and actually figure out how the world works, there's actually loads of opportunities.
Okay. So I guess we've sorted it then. All of our viewers need to do is go and buy Dan's book, become an entrepreneur and become a millionaire. It's that easy. Why weren't you guys doing it to begin with? They're idiots. The viewers are idiots. They should be just being more entrepreneurial.
I don't know why he's so anti-business and entrepreneurship. I really don't. It's like he's trying to put this Dan guy down for trying to help people to start in business, like mocking his book. This guy's coming across rude, I can't lie.
I'm sick of multi-millionaires telling kids who can't afford to turn the heating on, you just need to be more entrepreneurial. It's sick, Dan, it's sick. But this gives people mental illness. It gives people mental illness. Tell them the truth, okay? We, your older generation, we took the opportunities and now it is almost impossible to get out of poverty.
Oh my days, this guy is a clown. It's like the victim mentality that a lot of people in the UK have. Honestly, that mindset sickens me. In order to change a situation, you can't think like that. So what are you gonna do? Okay, let's just be weak. Everyone just have a weak mindset and feel like we can't change our situations. You can. Look at some of the most successful people in the world. They literally started from debt. They started off with zero money, zero skills, and they've literally built themselves up. And that's what entrepreneurship and being a business owner is all about. This is a weak way of thinking, And I don't think it's a good message to give young people that are watching this. I'm shocked.
I find it very strange that you think it would be easier to fix the entire global economic system than to start a business and fix your own personal economics. The thing that I know that gives people mental health issues is feeling that they have no agency in their life, that they can't do anything.
He just hit the nail on the head. That's what's going to mess people up by saying to them, there's no hope for you. You're in London, you're broke, you're broke, you're broke. If you tell yourself that you're broke, you will definitely stay broke, and you'll probably become more broke, because there's levels to brokenness. There's one thing being in £1,000 overdraft, and another thing where you've maxed your overdraft and you're about to default on your car payment, your house payment. I've been there, guys. If you tell yourself, I'm wealthy, I'm rich, even if you are in your overdraft right now, you're tricking your mind. This is like the opposite of law of attraction. This is like some real low vibrational thinking right here. Whereas this Dan guy, he's really coming in with that positive attitude, like, yes, you can change your life. It doesn't matter where you are, where you're based, where your business is, or even if you don't have a business, you need to, number one, work on yourself, your mindset. In order to be successful, I really do think your mind is so powerful. Honestly, that's why before I even got into business, I was on law of attraction. I was studying it. I had that as the forefront of what I was doing. I was visualizing. I was writing down what I want from life rather than what I don't want. If you're focusing on what he's saying, all the negativity, guess what? You won't be successful. You will just be thinking very small-minded, like there's no hope and you can't actually do it. Whereas if you're focusing on your dream life, you will attract your dream life. Now, of course, you have to put in the work, but you have to keep that vision in mind. You have to really see it in order to achieve it. But my thoughts overall, just to summarize, I'll be honest with you, it's multiple reasons, but it's mainly because we kind of have to. We're kind of getting pushed out into different countries where the tax systems are much better. The government in the UK have just increased the tax a lot. They've increased stamp duty as well, which was another slap in the face for me, because I like to buy a lot of properties. That's kind of one of my main businesses, is the property purchasing. They've increased it from 3% to 5%. So for me, that was kind of like the final straw where I was like, right, go. But I'm still doing deals in the UK. I'm still gonna have a place in the UK. So that's my thoughts, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, then drop a comment. Even if you hated this video, let me know if I'm right, if I'm wrong, what you think, and stay tuned because I got loads more videos coming your way.